Hello YouTube, Dylan the Shadal Duelist here. Now today I have some very interesting duels for you. When Tenyi were first announced, I wasn't really all that impressed. I felt like decks that revolve around normal monsters don't really do well. One of the only decks I find that were super competitive that revolved mostly around normal monsters was Metal Foes, and even then they're used more as a engine than an actual deck, and they're also pendulum based, and we all know how broken pendulum decks are. So I really wasn't too big of a fan of Tenyi. I kind of scooted over it, you could say, but along with the when the Generaid archetype was announced and I saw that they were all different types and could all get their effects with monsters of their types, I thought, you know what? Tenyi could actually use Nidhogg, and if you don't know, Nidhogg is the ice Generaid that can negate special summons. So I decided to make a Tenyi deck with Nidhogg in it and kind of see how the deck works. And guys, I'm telling you right now, I completely underestimated Tenyi. So we're going to take a look at Tenyi right now. Our first duel is going to be against Dark Magician. And now, as you can see, I didn't open too well. I opened two of their search card and one of the dragons. However, I did draw another one of the dragons. And the good thing about Tenyi is if you at least have two dragons in your hand, you're pretty much good to go. Or even if you have something like Ajna and you open only Ajna, you're still pretty good to go. So I am going to special summon using its effect, Tenyi Dragon Stana. Now, for those who don't know, Tenyi are basically, the dragons at least, are able to special summon themselves if you control no effect monsters. So you're able to special summon them as long as you only have normal monsters on the field or no monsters on the field. So I special summon Stana and then link into Warrior Monk of Tenyi, which is a Link 1 normal monster, 1000 attack. It's the bare basics of the deck, basically. So then I'm going to activate Hollow of Dragon Chakra, which, if you guys don't know, it is a search card. It sends a worm monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you control a normal monster, you can add a Tenyi monster from your deck with a different name than the sent monster. So I'm going to send Mare to the graveyard and add Tenyi Dragon Vishuddha to my hand. This is one of the best monsters in the archetype, in my opinion. So then I'm going to activate Ajna, special summon itself, and then I'm going to link into Dragon Immortal of Tenyi. Now, this is one of the most important cards in the deck. This is your mid-ground play. What you need to do for this card is she acts as a monster reborn for your worm monsters. She requires a discard, which is totally fine because the Tenyi dragons get their effects from the grave as well as in their hands, so it's not that big of a deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Vishuddha to the grave to try and get Mare into my hand. I'm sorry, onto the field. However, he is going to activate Called by the Grave and banish Mare, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get Mare and do my whole play there, which will allow me to basically set myself up to get Nidhogg on the field. So I'm like, okay, not a problem. I'm going to activate World Legacy Succession to try and get Vishuddha back on the field, but he's going to activate a second Called by the Grave and banish Vishuddha. So unfortunately, my field isn't looking too great. I do have a Tenyi Wushang Strike for defense, which is basically a Tenyi version of Infernity Barrier. Unfortunately, it's not live because I require to have a non-effect monster on the field. So I am going to destroy his Witch of the Black Forest, which is going to allow him to add Magician's Rod to his hand. He is going to add the Dark Magic Inheritance and just basically do some things here. He's going to bring back Witch of the Black Forest with Dark Magic Veil, and then go into Crowley the First Prophesier, which wasn't a terrible play. I guess he didn't really have anything else he could do, so he's going to get the Dark Magic Circle. I guess he didn't have any Dark Magician cards, so his turn basically was as good as my turn, except I didn't have anything to interrupt him. Just goes to show there. So I am going to draw the Water Tenyi, Tenyi Dragonstana, and since it's a level 4, I can just normal summon him and link into the link 3 of the deck, Fierce Ogre of Tenyi. And now, once again, since I have a non-effect monster on the field, I can activate Draw Hollow, the Dragon Chakra, and send Nidhogg to the grave, because I can easily revive it if I get another Dragon Immortal of Tenyi on the field, and add Tenyi Dragon Adhara, which is the tuner of the deck. And you know, I think a lot of people were confused why the deck had a tuner with no synchro monsters, because this is a link-based deck, and we didn't get, as we all know now, we do have the Fierce Ogre deity, but that doesn't come out until Chaos Impact, I believe. It's kind of like a Shadal situation where Falco was a tuner, but there's no synchro monsters. It was just, I guess, kind of there. But now we do have a reason to play this card, aside from its effect to recycle your banished Tenyis. Speaking of which, we're going to banish Ajna to summon a Vishuddha from the deck, and we will have the ability now to summon the Dragon Ogre deity of Tenyi. And this card is absolutely busted. It is a generic level 8 synchro monster, so you know this card is going to be in any deck that can make level 8 synchros. It can banish an opponent when one of their monsters activates an effect, and then, as you're going to see right now, what it can do is if it attacks an opponent's monster and destroys it by battle, it gains attack equal to that monster's attack, and then it can attack another monster again. But before I do that, I'm going to activate Adhara's second effect to add Vishuddha back to my hand. So, in hindsight, I probably should have gone for Ajna, or even Mare would have been dead in my hand, so Mare would not have been a good idea, but I probably should have gone for Ajna. But I mean, it is what it is. So I'm going to attack Crowley with Dragon Ogre and pump myself up to 4,000 attack, and then attack him directly with Fierce Ogre. He's going to activate this, and also, now that Fierce Ogre's on the field, I do have my Wushang Strike live, so I do allow him to go for the Spellbook of Secrets. I feel like he probably has other plays he can do, so he's going to summon the Magician's Rod and try to activate its effect. I will negate it with Wushang Strike. He is going to get Dark Magician in his hand, and then he's going to activate Magician's Navigation to summon Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl and banish my Dragon Ogre, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I still have plays I can do with Fierce Ogre on the field. So I am going to activate Vishuddha here, or attempt to activate Vishuddha, but he is going to activate another Called by the Grave and banish my Vishuddha from my grave. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do anything there, but this is where he spells his own doom. He activates Dark Burning Magic as I declare an attack on Dark Magician, and he is going to destroy my Fierce Ogre deity. However, because I have Tenyi Dragonstana in the graveyard, basically whenever a normal monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, I can bring back that monster and then destroy a card on my opponent's side of the field. So I'm going to bring back my Fierce Ogre and destroy his Dark Magician and then attack him for game. So Tenyi right here is showing how versatile it is, even by itself, not even with Nidhogg in the deck. The deck, I think, is actually severely underrated, in my opinion, after playing the deck, as someone who underestimated it myself, because the Tenyi Dragons basically act as hand traps that can also activate from the graveyard, so it's very easy to get their effects off. I just wish some of them were quick effects, and we'll get onto that when we get to the deck list. So next off is Tenyi versus Salamangreat. Now, Salamangreats did get hit on the most recent ban list. Both Gazelle and Circle Gang hit to 1. Very much hurts the consistency of the deck. However, as you can see, this is an OCG build. They are getting a new Link 4 monster, which does boost their power up quite a bit, because it is quite a powerful monster. So we are going to go first here. We're going to summon Vishuddha from our hand and then go into the Warrior Monk. And then we're going to summon our Adhara, go into Dragon Immortal of Tenyi, and then what we're going to do is we're going to send Mermere to the grave to summon back Mermere from the grave. And then there's quite a few ways you can do this effect. Basically, in order to set up your Nidhogg play, you need to have a way to get Mermere onto the field, and then another way to get another Tenyi dragon on the field. It's stupidly easy to do this. I just happened to draw, not awkwardly, because this monster reborn could have been any other Tenyi monster, which would have been fine. So I'm going to bring back Adhara from the grave. I'm going to use Mermere's effect to synchro into Yazi, and then I'm going to use Dragon Immortal and Tenyi Dragon Adhara to go into the Fierce Ogre. And then I'm going to activate the Archetype's field spell, Tenyi Wubang Stance, which is a really, really good card. It makes your face-up non-effect monsters immune to monster effects, and then if your opponent special summons an effect monster, you get to draw 2 cards. So it's basically a pot of greed for when your opponent special summons a monster, effect monster. Really, really good effect, and this is a decent, like, it's not the best field, but it's a decent field because of the effects that you can apply with some of these monsters in the grave, and then also just having Yazi there. So our opponent is going to start making their move. They're going to activate Will the Salamangreat and chain Salamangreat Circle, get Foxy, use Foxy's effect, and add a Salamangreat Roar to their hand. They're going to use Balinks. They're going to special summon Balinks, and which is going to activate Wubang Stance, which will net me 2 cards. So we do draw into our Stana and a Wushang Strike, which are both really, really good cards. He is going to activate his Sanctuary, and then he's just going to basically do the normal Salamangreat stuff here, get his Link Climb into his higher monsters, and then here he goes into, as I mentioned before, the new Link 4, Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix. This card is really, really good. I'll read its effect for those of you who don't know. If this card is link summoned using Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix as material, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. That alone is insane, but it gets better. You can only use each effect of the following effects of Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix once per turn. You can target 1 Link monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to their field. Now, you may be wondering why you would want to do that. Here's the reason why. If a Link monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can target one of those monsters, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So I think what he was trying to go for here is he was going to destroy Fierce Ogre of Tenyi, special summon it back for me, and then burn me for 3,000. However, as you're going to see, things are not going to work out well for him. He does end up destroying most of my cards. He destroys the Wubang Stance and the Yazi, but he does not destroy Fierce Ogre because of Wubang Stance protecting Fierce Ogre. And because he destroyed Yazi, I am able to get my Nidhogg on the field, which will play a pivotal role for the rest of this duel. So he is going to attack over Nidhogg. That's fine. That's okay, because I can easily bring Nidhogg back with only the cards in my hand. So I am going to activate, first of all, Vishuddha, which it can banish itself to return a card on the field back to its to the owner's hand. So I am going to try to send Pyro Phoenix back to the extra deck. He is going to roar, which means I am unfortunately not going to be able to do that, but that is fine because I will just recycle my Vishuddha with Adhara, which is perfect, and then I'm going to summon Stana, link into the my monk, and then obviously I will be burned because of Pyro Phoenix's effect. That's fine. I'm going to summon the Vishuddha from my hand, and then go into Dragon Immortal of Tenyi. Now this is where I'm going to get Nidhogg back, because as I said, Dragon Immortal has this Monster Reborn effect. I'm going to discard another copy of the field spell to get Nidhogg back onto the field. So as you can see, I have quite a good board here, and it's only going to get better because now I have a powerful 3,000 attack beater, a Monster Reborn on legs, and a way to negate the summons of my opponent's monsters, as well as a spell and trap card and monster effect negate. Now, something really cool here, as you can see, as I attacked Fierce Ogre of Tenyi, I did try to destroy his Sanctuary, because what Immortal of Tenyi does is when battle involves a normal monster on my side of the field, I can target a card on the field and destroy it. So I attempt to get rid of the Sanctuary. He will activate Balinks in order to protect it. That's fine. I get rid of the Pyro Phoenix and attack directly with Dragon Immortal. So as you can see, I have, as I said before, a really powerful board. With Fierce Ogre of Tenyi on the field, the monsters in my graveyard are live. I do have that sort of battle protection if it does get a way to get a monster that has a bigger attack on the field with Dragon Immortal, and I can also easily negate a special summon with Nidhogg plus a negation. So he is going to attempt to use the mole in order to recycle some resources. I'm going to negate that with Wushang Strike. He is going to use the circle, and as you can see here, he attempts to Xyz summon. I will negate that with Nidhogg. He is going to summon Heat Leo and use Heat Leo's effect, or attempt to at least, to run over Fierce Ogre of Tenyi. However, again, because battle happens involving one of my non-effect monsters, I can easily just destroy his Heat Leo with Dragon Immortal of Tenyi, which is exactly what I do. So, as you can see, I have a very commanding presence on the board. I'm in control of this duel. I'm going to activate Dragon Immortal again, send Vishuda to the grave to bring back my Nidhogg for more summon negation. So I'm going to destroy the Salamangreat with Immortal of Tenyi, and then put him down to 1600, basically. Unfortunately, Dragon Immortal can only special summon monsters in defense mode, otherwise I could have closed out that duel right there with Nidhogg. So he does get the new Rising Fire card, which acts almost as if, almost like a premature burial for the deck, and he is actually going to make the smart play here and go for my Dragon Immortal of Tenyi, sending it to the graveyard, unfortunately ending that. However, he does seem to have the upper hand here. He has a monster with 3300 attack, which is more than my Fierce Ogre. However, I do draw the Tenyi Dragon Nahata, which I will... So here's the thing, I know he has a Roar set on the field, so I'm going to bait it out by using Vishuda to get rid of the Pyro Phoenix. He is going to negate that with the Roar, which is fine because I will attack him with Fierce Deity and activate Tenyi Dragon Nahata, which basically reduces the attack of the monster my non-effect monster is battling by 1500, allowing me to run over his Pyro Phoenix once again. And he's just... So, here's the thing. He's running Salamangreat Gift, which a lot of people say not to do. However, with the 2 hits on the list, people need to experiment with Salamangreat, so I can see a lot of experimenting. He, again, was running Salamangreat Gift. He was running Beat Bison, so there's really not much you can do. You gotta do what you gotta do to try and keep the deck alive. So he is going to use another mole to recycle his cards and draw 2. He's going to get his Foxy back on the field, summon another Foxy, and attempt to summon Mirage Stallia, which I am again going to negate. He is going to get his Pyro Phoenix back and destroy my Fierce Ogre. But once again, Stana strikes, and I'm able to bring my Fierce Ogre back and destroy his Pyro Phoenix. And by that time, he just realizes it's game over. He has no way to close out the duel at this point. So once again, Tenyi shows just how much of a potent deck it can be. And again, you saw all the work Nidhogg put in. It negated 2, I think, very crucial summons, in my opinion, because the Mirage Stalio is one of the most important pieces of the deck. So, as you can see, Nidhogg in the deck is amazing. And for our last duel, we have Tenyi versus Yang Zing. So, the battle of the worm archetypes, basically. Yang Zing will go first. I'm going to negate the Terraform with Ash Blossom as he goes for Pot of Desires, and he's going to basically... and on a very odd field, in my opinion, he destroys the Jiaotou and the Infernal Flame Emperor. Okay, in order to get his True King Agnazumid on the field and a Suwani Fire of the Yang Zing with a set 9 pillars that is live. Okay, not a problem. I am going to summon Ajna onto the field, go for my Link summon, and then get Stana onto the field going into Dragon Immortal. Now here I'm going to try and set myself up. I'm going to activate Dragon Immortal, send Nidhogg to the grave to get Ajna back on the field. However, he is going to negate that with the 9 pillars pillars and send Dragon Immortal back to my extra deck while netting him a Bixie of the Yang Zing. I'm going to summon my Adhara, Monster Reborn, back the Monk of Tenyi, and then I'm going to use Ajna to get Vishuddha onto the field from my deck, and then I'm going to Synchro Summon into Dragon Ogre, Deity of Tenyi. Again, this card is absolutely insane. If it's not a secret rare in Chaos Impact, I will be very, very surprised. So you're going to see just how powerful Dragon Deity can be. As you can see, I added Ajna back to my hand with Adhara, and then I'm going to attack over the True King Agnazumid with Dragon Ogre, and going up to 5,900 attack. That is insane. So he is going to get his Sewanni back on Sewanni onto the field after Bixie is destroyed. So there's not much I can do here. He is going to attack over my Dragon Monk. I am going to use Stana to bring it back and destroy his Sewanni, netting him another Bixie. But at this point, I'm not concerned about this at all. I'm going to use Ajna to summon Nahata onto the field. And then I'm going to link into Dragon Immortal with Nahata and Fierce Ogre, because I'm going to easily bring Ogre back. And then I'm going to link up into Fierce Ogre. And here we go again with getting all of these monsters on the field. I'm going to destroy his Sewanni, and he's going to, of course, do what Yang Zing do best and just bring more and more monsters onto the field, which, again, I am not concerned about, because Fierce Ogre plus Dragon Ogre are incredibly... these two cards, as long as you have some of your dragons in the graveyard, are an incredibly potent duo. So he is going to, for some reason, normal summon Barastos and then just quit, because I'm not sure why he had the World Legacy Burgeoning in his hand. World Legacy Monstrosity. I don't know if he just didn't have any more targets left in his deck, or if he just realized there's really nothing he could do. He could summon a True King of all Calamities, but what would that do? They're both, all of the monsters on the field are 3,000 attack, and my monsters in grave all have different effects, different types, so he wouldn't be able to affect... He would be able to affect the effects, the types of my ogres. However, if you were to use his effect, Dragon Ogre would just banish it. So yeah, there was really not much he could do. So that is the duel replays, and as usual, we are going to go to the deck to take a look at what we are running. So this deck, we are running 3 Tenyi Dragon Ajna. Again, very important card. Level 7, so you can make Dragon Ogre Tenyi, Dragon Ogre Deity with it. And it's basically brings out your Tenyi monsters from the deck. 3 Vishuddha. Again, this card is really good. Level 7, so you can make your Ogre, and can banish can return a card to the hand. Really useful. Nahata, it's a level 4, so if you need to, you can normal summon it. Makes your opponent's monsters lose 1,500 attack. Can be good for some of your for something like Warrior Monk, but also, as you can see, it can also help Fierce Ogre, or if you just need to push for game. Manira, this card's effect doesn't really come up too often, but basically it protects your normal monsters from being targeted. 3 Adhara, it's a recycling tool for your other dragons, and is a tuner, so once again, you can make Fierce Ogre Dragon. And 2 Stana. I feel like Stana is more niche. I could run 3, however, your monster's being destroyed, you can easily get Stana onto the field, so I don't think you really need to open it. So that's why I personally only run 2 of them. 1 Nidhogg, again, this card is so good in Tenyi. I did mention during the Generaid discussion video that I said I think it could be teched, even though it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? doesn't mesh well with the rest of the archetype, or so I thought, but this card actually works very, very well in this archetype. As long as you have Fierce Ogre or Warrior Monk on the field, you are not stopped from using any of the Tenyi Dragon's effects, and it provides an extra layer of disruption for your opponent. One Mare because it's pretty essential for one of the ways to get your Nidhogg onto the field. So basically what you do is you summon a Mare through whatever means you can, either from Dragon Immortal in conjunction with Hollow of the Dragon Chakra, or however way you want to get it out. Use its effect to summon a token, and then because you will have a non-effect monster on the field, you can summon any of your other Tenyi dragons. You go into Fierce Deity, and then you Synchro into Yazi. Pretty plain and simple. 3 Ash Blossom because you want to disrupt your opponent. This is... Tenyi are weird. They're kind of a combination of a control deck and a beatdown deck. So I think 3 Ash Blossom is really good. One of the most important cards in the deck, Hollow of the Dragon Chakra, it sets up your grave for your Tenyis, and like I said, Nidhogg or Mare, and then adds Tenyi from your deck to your hand if you control a non-effect monster, which 9 times out of 10, you will. Tenyi Wu Bang Stance, it's a really nice card, provides protection for your monsters, and is basically draw power for any other deck that's not Tenyi, basically. 1 Terraforming. Really sad Terraforming got unlimited, but I do understand why. Twin Twisters, this deck does have a weakness to back row heavy decks, so you definitely want Twin Twisters in here. Besides, you getting your Tenyi dragons into the grave isn't the worst thing possible because they all do activate their secondary effects from the grave as well as in the hand. Monster Reborn because it's a staple. World Legacy Succession, I've said this before, in Link decks it's basically a second copy of Monster Reborn, which is never a bad thing. 3 Tenyi Wusheng Strike, it's like I said before, basically a Infinity Barrier for the deck, just really unfortunate that it doesn't destroy, and then it actually has a secondary effect. If it's set and destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can actually just special summon 1 non-effect monster from your extra deck. So you can just bring out Fierce Ogre of Tenyi with just by having this destroyed. 1 Metaverse, simply because activating this on your opponent's turn isn't the worst thing in the world. In fact, it can really be a big surprise for your opponent and help net you some advantage. And 2 Waterfall of the Dragon Souls. This card has never really come up, but it can be useful. You can add a worm monster from your deck to your hand, or send worm monsters from your hand, or face up on the field to the graveyard and draw +1. So some potential draw power. May end up replacing this, not 100% sure. Now onto the extra deck, 3 Warrior Monks of Tenyi. This card's really important to have at 3 because he starts all of your plays. 3 Dragon Immortal of Tenyi. She's super important because she is basically how you get from Warrior Monk to Fierce Ogre, which is where you want to be, because a 3000 normal beat stick in this deck is very, very good. Land Phalanx, it's a normal link too, in case you're desperate, basically. Nightmare Package, pretty staple, doesn't really ever come up, but in case you're basically on your last leg and you have no other options, these are what you're going to go for. 1 Yazi, because as I said before, getting Nidhogg onto the field through Yazi is really, really good. Plus also, you can easily do it with Mare, or you can kind of do a reverse. You can get Mare onto the field and get Nidhogg onto the field through that. It's just, again, Yazi, very important with these 2 cards. And finally, Dragon Ogre Deity of Tenyi. This card is truly insane. One of the MVPs in the deck. You want to try and make this as often as possible, because this combined with Fierce Ogre are just... It's an insane combo. As long as you have the right monsters in your grave, such as Vishuda, which you should almost always have either in your grave or in your hand, Nahata, and Stana. These are definitely 3 of the best monsters in terms of protection. Now, again, I really, really wish Vishuda was a quick effect, because that would just kind of... Right now, I think Tenyi are... possibly could be a tier. I think they could be a rogue strategy. They're definitely underrated. However, if the Shuda had been a quick effect, I think this deck could have been truly competitive, because being able to return a monster to the hand on your opponent's turn is crazy. For decks that really rely on their normal summon, that is just really, really a devastating thing to do. So again, I just really wish some of these effects were quick effects. However, that's just my personal opinion. And this is the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm really, really enjoying Tenyi, and I think I may actually pick the deck up once Rising Rampage finally does officially come out to the TCG. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like. Just let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you think of the Tenyi archetype and Nidhogg specifically in the Tenyi archetype. Do you think it's more trouble than it's worth, or do you think it's a really, really good card that when you can access it really does help the Tenyi archetype kind of force your opponent to try and work their way around pretty strong boards more than they would already? And be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Until next time, guys, this is Dylan the Generaid Duelist, signing out.